In today's video, I'm going to show you how to take some Inventor sketch blocks and then export it out into an assembly and create the components from there, and then be able to move it with the constraints that get automatically generated when we take out those sketch blocks. So the first thing is, once I've created so in this drawing or part over here, I've created my sketch blocks, and in this you can see I've even created a sub-assembly, as it were, or nested block assembly of the cylinder with my cylinder housing and my cylinder piston. Now, what I need to do as well is I need to have two of these middle brackets inside the assembly. So to place another one, I'm just going to drag and drop it in, and then I'm going to constrain it as well. So that will be constrained to that point there, and then I want to constrain that point to that point over there. Once that's done, I also need to create another part over here. So there'll be a duplicate upper brace or another instance of the upper brace. So I select that, drag it in, and then once again I'm going to constrain it using my 2D constraints. Okay, there we go. So if I grab the lower arm and move it, you'll see there it is functioning as it should. Okay, so now let's go and use this layout to create our components in an assembly. So first thing, I'm going to go to my layout panel, select make component, and the make component selection box pops up. If you've used multi-bodies before, multi-body part, this will be very familiar to you. It's the same process. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to select all of these components over here, and you'll see their upper brace. You'll see there's two instances of the upper brace, middle bracket, there's two instances, lower arm, top arm, and my cylinder over there. Okay, so once that's done, I can give it a name. I'm just going to leave it as skeleton layout and blocks, or layout. Let's make it layout 2 blocks. Layout 2 assembly. Okay, standard.im assembly, where it's going to be saved, and the bill of material structure. Okay, once that's done, we'll see, just take a look at what's going to happen over here. So first of all, it's going to create the upper brace, middle bracket, lower arm, and top arm as parts. The template I'm using for that is the standard IPT. The bill of material structure is normal, and then the file location is the source path. And then for my cylinder, you'll see the cylinder housing and cylinder piston 1. Okay. Now, what I can do over here as well, for my component position options, I can create the equivalent assembly constraints. So all those constraints that are put in between the blocks will then be converted to an assembly constraint, and then also constrain it to the layout plane. And that layout plane, you'll see, will be my skeleton layout and blocks plane. Okay, so once that's done, I can click on OK, and it will then go and export it out as separate parts in an assembly. So here we go. What you'll also notice is that it's actually also made this flexible. So it's actually converted the flexible components over there, or the flexible assembly, blocks that I had over here. So if I look at there, it's flexible, and that's why I was able to move it. It's converted that into an assembly flexible component. Okay, so now what do we need to do to start creating the components from this? Okay, so first of all, for instance, for the cylinder housing over here, I will probably do a revolve. So revolve, select my profile, select my axis, and OK. Now what you'll see is the assembly has disappeared, so I'm going to make that visible, and then once again I can go and do an extrude. So the normal, your normal feature controls over here. So there we go. Let's make this 40. Okay. My component, then I can just obviously do a shell in there, and then let's go to this cylinder piston. Once again, do a revolve, select axis, there we go, and from here very quickly we can see how we've now created the parts. They're not fully realized, but we've created these parts over here so that we can get our design going in 3D. So return, go back up here, and here we go. You can see there. Okay, so we're not fully constrained over there. Okay, no, it is. Sorry. Oh, it's just the graphics over there. So I can pull this in and out. Okay, so it has not these, if I just go back up here, sorry, there it is, it's flexible and it moves as it should. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go and create the lower arm over here. So double click on that, let's go to extrude, and from this let's go and make it 40 both ways. Okay, now with the two components over here, so this middle bracket, okay, I've got two middle brackets, so you'll see I've got middle bracket instance 1 and middle bracket instance 2. Now if I have to go and I'm just going to go and take the second one over here and extrude it, let's make it 10. Okay. Now the problem with this is that it's sitting inside or on that middle plane over there, and it's not wrong, because that's how we we started off the layouts. It's all on one plane, and then we start designing it from there, and that's also what a 2D layout will look like. It doesn't show you the depth of where the sketch is actually sitting. So what we can do over here is we need to go and just move it, and if I take a look at the layout at the bottom over here, we'll see there that it's been constrained as a flush constraint onto my XY plane. And because this is now 40 from that point to that point, you'll see there it now needs to shift 20 to the side so that it sits on this face over here. So what I can do is double click on it, type in 20, press enter, and you'll see there it is shifted. What you'll also notice is that because there are instances of this middle bracket, it's also given a, see the middle bracket over here, also given a distance over here. So now I need to move this across to that face over there. So let's just see what the dimension for that is. So from there to there, okay, it'll be 30. So once again, I'm going to go to my middle bracket, instance 1. I'll go find that layout and the constraint that I need to do, and it'll be minus 30. Press enter, and you'll see there I've now got my two components. And just to make sure that there is no interference, we can go to our view tab. We go inspect, analyze interference, select my three components, and Inventor tells us there are no interferences detected. Okay, so there we go. And now I can move it, you can see over there. So this is the start of my design. Everything's working quite nicely because I have, I've made sure that the sketch, first of all, in my layout is working correctly. There were no issues there. And then what I did is I made components, brought in my sketches. You'll see there that my duplicate sketches came in and built up instances of my components, as in the middle bracket 1 and 2. So just put it up over there, and then you'll see my upper brace as well. So there'll be two of these. So once again, I also have to create the part and then offset using the flush constraint that got created over here, and then it wouldn't be any interference and it would work correctly. So that is how we can very, very quickly take a layout with some sketches, take it to an assembly, make components, start our design, and then obviously from here, I can go and create all my 2D documentation. Thank you very much for watching.